Gong and Hyun-jin's new work, The Trunk. This drama is adapted from a popular novel of the same name by a Korean author. It has won the 24th Busan International Film Festival Asian Contents Awards. The suspense and the lineup are not to be underestimated. Come and take a look with me. In the intensive care unit, a man clinging to life grasped his wife's hand tightly. In his final moments, he struggled to say something. Yet, the wife told everyone that he was simply expressing his gratitude for her companionship along the way. When she turned around, there wasn't a trace of sorrow on her face. Just 10 minutes earlier, she had finalized their divorce and swiftly arranged for her next marriage. Lu, a strong-willed career woman and staunch advocate of anti-marriage, serves as the deputy manager to contract-based agency. As the name suggests, the agency drafts agreements tailored to client demands, facilitating year-long contractual relationships. She has had 4 previous marriages, and her 5th contractual partner is Han, an incredibly unreliable music producer, and drifts through life aimlessly, barely managing to get by with the help of medication. While indulging in nightlife pleasures, Han glanced up at the crystal chandelier in the center of the hall. It seemed to tip blood. Red maw, threatening to devour him whole. When he woke up, Han was already back home. In his sprawling mansion, he was entirely alone. Staring at the crystal chandelier, the living room, he realized that last night's terrifying hallucination had stemmed directly from his own life. The chandelier was his father's most treasured creation. Yet now, Han was poking through it with a pole, as if something horrifying were hidden inside. Han deeply loved his ex-wife, Lee. She had insisted on their divorce, quickly embracing the trend of contract-based modern marriages, and married a younger man. What's worse, she had even arranged a marriage partner for Han. Reluctant but resigned, Han attended a dinner with Lee. During the meal, he attempted several times to hold her hand, but Lacan pulled hers away each time. To win back Lee's affection, Han reluctantly agreed to the time-limited marriage. After Lee left, he secretly followed her, only to see her returning new husband. Overwhelmed by jealousy, rage consumed Han entirely. He called her multiple times, but she ignored everyone. In his anger, he grabbed a bottle of wines, Lee's car without hesitation, and was promptly arrested as a car thief. During police interrogation, Han refused to say a single word. Just then, a stranger approached him. It was his new wife, Lu. At that moment, Lee called the police, stating she had already tacitly allowed him to damage the car. This intervention led to Han's release without charges. Back at home, Lu carried her suitcase upstairs and placed it in an empty room on the 2nd floor. She mentioned that all the terms and rules of their marital arrangement were clearly outlined in the contract handbook. Lu said nothing more. Her mechanical indifference only deepened Han's disinterest in this marriage. As usual, Han had to take anti-anxiety medication to fall asleep. However, in the middle of the night, he was jolted awake by strange noises coming from the living room. He approached cautiously, only to see his mother rummaging through leftovers in the refrigerator, devouring them ravenously. Suddenly, she picked up a knife and began moving toward his sleeping father. Han intervened just in time, but it was only a nightmare. Mirrored a memory he could never forget. When Han woke up the next morning, Lu had already prepared breakfast. But he had no intention of trying to get along with her. Coldly, he grabbed his bag and left without a word. After dealing with Han, Lu headed to an old apartment complex. The unit she entered had been unoccupied for a long time. Occasionally, she would ask a curly-haired woman to help keep an eye on it. Lu stood before a shelf, gazing at a wedding photo, its edges carefully trimmed. Back then, she had arranged a marriage with Sui from an electronics company, but little did she know that he was bisexual. Her mother publicly exposed this fact online, claiming that Sui had been deceitful and was only marrying her for convenience. Unable to bear the pressure, Sui chose to disappear without a word, leaving Lu alone. Clutching the wedding photo and breaking down in tears, she accidentally encountered the representative of the new type of contract-based, limited-time marriage. The competition is to aspire to a magnificent wedding, of course. There is nothing wrong with that, but living a quiet life is the key to maintaining a marriage. As long as they stick to do, neither party will be hurt at the other party's enthusiastic invitation. Lu, who had lost hope in love, decided to join and become an employee. A phone call disturbed her thoughts. Her friend, who was delivering food, told her that a man named Yim, who should have stayed at a mental hospital, had actually been discharged before Lu could ask for details. In the blink of an eye, Her friend had lost track of him. Lee's attitude towards Han was strange. She had never refused to meet Han, and even wore the earrings he had specially chosen for her. Her expression was full of ambiguity, yet, when Han tried to embrace her, she coldly pushed him away, leaving only the words, "I wish you were dead." Han was disturbed by this pull feeling, making it impossible for him to sleep. The noisy TV living room only added to his uneasy state of mind. Lou ignored his furious expression and invited him to watch TV together, then got up to go to the kitchen to get some beer. When Han went downstairs, he deliberately avoided the crystal chandelier. The anger in his heart grew stronger. Without saying a word, he threw the beer in his hand at the chandelier. After calming down, he intended to pick up the broken pieces, but the chandelier's light tube unexpectedly fell straight down. The surprise was when only felt a slight pain, because Lou had blocked most of the light tube for him. Her arm was badly injured. Out of guilt, Han accompanied Lou to the hospital for bandaging. Coincidentally, his critically ill father was also staying in the same hospital. The doctor advised him to visit the ward, but Han coldly turned around and left. Lou's observation skills were sharp. It was easy to tell from Han's behavior that he strongly rejected crystal chandelier in the living room. Han refused to say anything. He simply lay in bed after getting home and was overwhelmed by endless memories in his mind. This new couple didn't spend much time together. Han would rather sleep in the music studio than meet Lou more often. Lou didn't mind, though. She dutifully fulfilled her responsibilities as a wife. She saw a suitcase with a unique design style in the wardrobe and looked at it thoughtfully. The fridge at home was empty, so Lou went to the nearby supermarket to buy groceries. In a daze, she felt as though someone was watching her. On her way home, she noticed a man lurking around nearby. A bad feeling surged in her heart. This man, wasn't he Yim, who should have been the mental hospital? The news of Lou's injury spread. Lai also heard about it from her best friend and felt somewhat dissatisfied that night. Han sent a text message expressing his longing for Lee. She smugly raised the corner of her mouth. But when Han mentioned about Lou's injury, Lee's smile instantly vanished. The incident caused Han to lower his guard slightly when Lou asked him again why he hated the crystal chandelier. He finally confessed many years ago. His father installed surveillance in the chandelier to monitor his mother. He drove her insane later to avoid gossip from others. His father refused to take her to the hospital, which made her sleepwalking disorder worse. Han had to follow her every night. She might do something terrifying. That house at the time was nothing but hell. Being honest about his past made Han feel incredibly relaxed that night. He didn't rely on medication and naturally fell asleep. Who was playing around with her new husband suddenly received a call from the hospital. She intended to inform Han that his father was in a critical situation. But when she dialed the number, she found out Han had weaned off his medication dependency. Tonight her heart, however, felt even more uneasy. So many things had changed in the blink of an eye. It had been a long time since Han had persistently entangled her. The missed calls were all blank. As for Han, it seemed he had realized he felt more at ease in front of Lou after all. The previous night was the only good sleep he'd had in 6 months. Lou noticed, although Lee's attitude toward Han was she remembered when she received the call last night, seeing Han's note still labeled wife. Lou meaningfully said a few words to Han. You won't do anything she hates. Looks like at least she didn't stop you from taking your medication. The implication was simple. The medication issue was something Lee had allowed Han to do. Han appeared displeased on the fizz, but secretly, he tested Lee in subtle ways, her natural responses, and how she naturally fell asleep when with him. Though he no longer remembered. To please Lee, he still humbly went along with it. Lee is an investor in the temple, and the monk could be considered her spiritual guide. Upon hearing about the recent events, the monk spoke plainly, saying that the marriage Lee arranged for Han was actually a test to control him from the core. Lee denied it, but her smile was clearly so stiff. The temple was holding an event recently, and the special guest speaker invited was none other than the mysterious man Yum. Lee said her goodbyes to the monk early, but on the way back, she grew increasingly irritated. She turned around and went straight to Han's house. Han wasn't home, so Lou personally poured her some hot tea, deliberately letting it spill onto her hand. Lee went to the bathroom to clean up and deliberately checked the stored medication. When she closed the mirror, what appeared was the image of her former self, the one who'd once relied on medication to get by. Han's phone suddenly received an anonymous text asking him if he trusted Lou. When he called back, it reminded him that the number was disconnected. He remembered that his friend had asked a similar question. Lu was the marriage partner arranged by Lai. So whose side was she really on? Since Lee entered the house, Lu had never asked about her identity. She instead asked Lu if she knew who she was. But Lu Ryeo-ryeong, she remembered Lee from her 4th year in architecture school, when a senior was deeply infatuated with her, but had to end his life because of unrequited love. Lee gave a half smile, saying that she also had some vague memories of Lu. But they were just trivial ones, and they could talk about it another time. When leaving, Lee happened to run into Han, who had just returned home. She reassured him that as long as he endured the 1-year contract marriage, she would be able to accept him again. This tactic of Fengel clearly had Han under her control, but Lee wasn't as calm on the surface. She began to feel a deep sense of unease. She deliberately took out an ultrasound, those of the child they had lost together Lai. Under the pretense of returning a record, asked Han to meet her at a restaurant. What she didn't expect was to hear something that surprised her. Han had calmly that's a contract marriage, and the wedding would take place tomorrow. A contract marriage, naturally, could only be held at a venue designated by the company. Lu then tied a bow tie on Han, and with just one friend as a witness, the two signed a 1-year contract. Tonight was the first night of their marriage. Han still insisted on sleeping in separate rooms. He dreamt of being swept by the sea, sweating profusely. He woke up and only managed to fall back asleep after taking anti-anxiety medication in his dazed state. He heard a voice comforting him, saying that the tsunami wouldn't reach this place. He initially thought it was a hallucination, but when he woke up, he realized, according to the contract manual, newlywed couples were supposed to sleep in the same room, so Lu had indeed been in his bed last night. This act triggered Han's anger in response to his attitude. Lu calmly replied, but according to company rules, if it really doesn't work, she would find a way. After Han left, Lu began categorizing the medications in the cabinet and asked her friend to investigate. She suspected that the medication side did not match the labels on the bottles. The special guest speaker Yim invited to the temple was teaching the crowd how to decorate cakes. Her best friend found out that Lee had bought a replacement crystal chandelier for Han from France and was eagerly talking, not seeing the expensive luxury item. When visiting, she couldn't go empty-handed, so she asked Yim to make a cake. His skill was exceptional, and it would definitely be impressive as a gift. When the chandelier was being replaced, Lee tentatively asked what should be done with the old one. Lu, however, responded with a question. Doesn't she know that it's the thing Han fears the most? Although Lee didn't answer, she instead proposed the dinners and the new marriage and the new chandelier, suggesting both families dine together. At that moment, Lee's best friend arrived, holding the cake as a congratulatory gift. Lu looked at the familiar decoration technique and seemed to realize something. Without the crystal chandelier, Han's heart instantly felt a weight lifted. Lu kept her word. She set up 2 beds in the bedroom, not only adhering to the contract manual, but also ensuring Han wouldn't feel burdened. Lee was quite satisfied with this arrangement as well. Today was the agreed upon dinner time for both families, and both Lu and Lee's current partners belonged to the same contract marriage company. It was unclear whether it was due to dissatisfaction with someone, but on Lee's side, she kept trying to provoke Han. Only Terry attempt cleverly resolved by Lu. Lu gently pressed Han's hand as if to comfort him, assuring him that as long as she was there, his heart would always be at peace. Lee took the opportunity to bring up the old crystal chandelier again, commenting on Han's childish temper and how the past still clung to him. But Lu responded by saying that the things left behind by scum should be sold as scrap metal. These words made Han completely change his view of her. After sending off the unexpected guests, Han surprisingly took the plate from Lu's hand. She had once mentioned that she did dance, and in the light-hearted atmosphere, Han played some music, and they both danced the tango in the living room. For a brief moment, he lost himself, unable to resist pulling her into a hug and kissing her. But no one expected that this moment was captured by Lee, who had installed surveillance in the new crystal chandelier, just like Han's dad had once monitored Han's mom. After the brief, tender moment, they both buried their impulses deep inside. Though Han understood that they were just contractually bound spouses, he couldn't help but admit that his feelings had been stirred. Lu had just made fresh beetroot juice when she received a reply from her friend. The medications were mostly anxiety, antidepressants, and melatonin, which could all be obtained with a prescription. However, it was rare for someone to stock up on so many. Lou held the beetroot juice in her hand, deep in thought. As she realized Lee had been watching him for a long time, she decided to search the house for more clues. Unexpectedly, in the depths of the bookshelf, she found a box containing a gun. Many questions rushed to her mind, but there was no time to process them all. Lou ran into a familiar face again while shopping at the supermarket. It was her colleague, Woo, Lee's current contract husband. He expressed his desire to continue his relationship with Lee and suggested they form an alliance. Lou also asked a question that had been on her mind: whether Lee often needed to take medication. Before she could receive an answer, Han sent an invitation for dinner. Unexpectedly, Lou chose to hold the dinner at Han's dad's critical care room. They were served seaweed soup, a dish only made on birthdays. It was said that Han's mum was an orphan and had never had anyone cook seaweed soup for her as a child. As a result, every time she endured abuse from Han's dad, the first thing she did when she returned home was to cook seaweed soup. What did this mean? Did the seaweed soup accelerate her healing? Or did she believe that her life had been difficult because she hadn't had the seaweed soup as a child? Their relationship grew closer, becoming more like that of a normal couple. Hen would be by her side, helping with housewives like a responsible husband. This scene was starting to drive Lee crazy with jealousy. She never expected that Han's reliance on Lou was growing deeper. It had only been a few hours apart, and Han sent a message inviting Lou to watch a movie. He even rejected Lee's invitation for a date. Because it was a last-in-ticket purchase, the only available show was a horror movie. Han, afraid, turned his head, as if just seeing Lou's face would make all his fears vanish. They exchanged a smile, and the screened theater seemed distant and irrelevant. Each moment spent together deepened their bond. This time, Lou revealed her secret. She also had someone she hated, her mother. It was because of her mother that she could never be with the one she loved. Exposing one's weaknesses to others often leads to self-inflicted harm, so these things are only shared with those closest to you. It seemed both of them realized the shift in their relationship, but neither resisted it. They lay in different beds, yet their minds were focused on the same thing. In this quiet and sincere moment, even the repeated calls from Lee were ignored by Han. Lee's heart was far from calm. This was the first time she couldn't reach Han by phone. That night, she drank herself into a frenzy, feeling as if her entire being had been drained of energy, powerless. Lou's fiancée, Sui, kept a tank of goldfish at home, entrusting their care to the curly-haired lady. However, for some reason, the lifespan of the goldfish had been unusually short, and they had been replaced several times. The curly-haired lady, as usual, glanced at the fish before leaving. But not when wearing a hat silently sneaked into the house. Who is he? The next morning, as usual, Lou made herself a glass of beetroot juice. Similarly, as per her routine, Lee had been keeping an eye on her all morning. In the afternoon, there was a tea-tasting event at the temple. The monk not only invited Lai and her friend, but also called Lou to join. This meeting cooled the atmosphere to an icy point, especially when Lee found out that Han had not answered her calls, because he had been with Lou watching a movie the previous night. Lee's expression stiffened, and she subtly asked about the benefits of beetroot juice, wondering why some people liked it so much. Lou, unaware of the lie implications in Lee's words, simply responded without engaging further, and the conversation fizzled out. They all parted ways early. As Lou was preparing to leave in her car, Lee suddenly accelerated towards her, stopping in front of her. Using the excuse that her car was damaged, Lee insisted that Lou ride with her. On the way, Lee bluntly expressed her intentions. She had personally arranged for Lou and Han to marry. Lou seemed to be a virtuous woman, so, during the one-year contract, Lee intended for Han to be happy, but at the same time, it was her way of punishing him. It was like a sudden realization for Lou. She now understood why Lai had mentioned beetroot juice at the temple. Lou gazed up at the crystal chandelier in the lobby, and everything suddenly made sense. That night, she was disturbed by a nightmare. Han stayed by her side, allowing her to cling to his fingers as if she were desperately seeking help. Lou's phone buzzed with a message from a friend, mentioned a name. Yin, sitting beside the bed patiently, waited for Lou to wake up and then asked her who Yim was. It was then that Lou revealed Yim was a dangerous stalker who had been lurking around her for the past 5 years. However, according to the contract manual, the employer could ignore any problems caused by the contract wife, so Lou didn't want Han to intervene. Meanwhile, Lee had an appointment with a client. As she was about to enter the elevator, she noticed a pair of white shoes standing at the door. Those white shoes belonged to her client, Yim. Yim, the client, was considering building a 5-story cake workshop, but that was just an excuse to meet with Lil. His reason was to warn Lee not provoke Lu. If she was really curious about who he was, she should ask the contract marriage company. At home, Lu found the record and the ultrasound hidden inside it. Behind the photo were 3 blue pills. Lu decided to have a friend investigate Lee's background, suspecting that if led easy as to a large supply of medication, it hinted at deeper, darker secrets lurking behind her. On the way home with her friend, Lee suddenly experienced severe abdominal pain. This was a result of the complications from the miscarriage she had suffered before, leaving her with serious health issues. After her recovery, the first thing she did was warn Han that, no matter what, he could never expect to have children with her. That night, when Han returned home, he saw Yim lurking nearby. Adopting the philosophy that it's better face the problem head on than to avoid it, he invited Yim inside. Lu, however, had no patience for words with Yim. She was ready to confront him head-on and was eager to go downstairs with a weapon in hand. Han initially thought about solving the situation with money, but it was clear that Yim wasn't interested in that. Instead, he asked, "Do you trust Lu?" It was in that moment that Han realized the anonymous text he'd received earlier had come from Yim. Yim continued to corner Han, speaking slowly. "Don't think I don't know. Your mother's death was your doing." When Lu finally calmed down and came downstairs, Yim had a lift. In the silence that followed, Han and Lu, each with their own secrets, embraced. They decided to trust one another and openly share some of the past that should have been long forgotten. In the past, Han had always wanted a child, but Lai had different plans. He eventually persuaded her, but one day Han witnessed something that would haunt him forever. Lai, without hesitation, walked into oncoming traffic. Everyone assumed it was an accident, but Han knew deep down that it was intentional. After the incident, Han began to entertain the idea of separating from her, a thought that had never crossed his mind before. He pleaded with the doctors to save the child, which coincidentally, Lee found out. This knowledge became the reason she sought revenge on Han. Meanwhile, Lu confided in Han, revealing that she had seen Yim's hand wrapped around a man's neck, and with a simple snack, the man's life was ended. The man was a bodyguard from the marriage agency, someone with a background in special forces or possibly even have inserted a presidential bodyguard. This revealed just how dangerous Yim truly was. Yim claimed ownership over Lu in every possible way, and at that moment, no one seemed to have the means to fight back. As Han's dad's health deteriorated, the hospital advised them to prepare for his passing. Han, as usual, didn't bother to tie his own necktie. Lai, arriving under the guise of being a wife, came to the funeral but was actually delivering new pills, claiming they were more effective for anxiety. She ignored Han's empty collar, turning away without a second glance. Standing at a distance, Lu watched this unfold and, stepping forward, tied Han's tie for him. According to the contract manual, she wasn't allowed to participate in such formal occasions, so no one objected to Lee's presence. Lee continued to comfort her words were laced with hidden meanings. She subtly reminded him that he was a lonely, idle, and irresponsible man, someone with no one to care for him. In contrast, she positioned herself as the ideal companion for Han during such a time. Lu followed Lee into the restroom, where the tension between them reached its peak. As Han's wife for a year, Lu had seen enough to know that 1 year could be both a time for new beginnings and a time to destroy lives. Her words were a pointed reminder to Lee that Han already knew the truth, that the death of their love child was no accident, the result of Lee's deliberate actions. Lai, enraged and unable to defend herself, was overpowered by Lu. Afterward, Lu returned to Han's side, dressed in mourning clothes. Although the contract manual strictly prohibited her from being present during such moments, today, she chose to take a break, fully aware of the emotional weight this day carried for both of them. Han's heart, once clouded by confusion and obligation, finally found clarity with Lu. Being with her brought him the happiness and ease he had never experienced while living with Lai. For the first time, he felt truly alive, and this newfound peace made him question the future. Unable to hold back anyone, he asked, "If the 1-year term ends, and I don't want to let you go, what should we do?" His voice carried the weight of unspoken feelings, a plea for something that brilliant, more real. Lai, sensing the shift in their relationship, and the growing emotional distance, felt a strong sense of urgency. She could no longer bear the idea of their marriage continuing and demanded that the contract be terminated. Han, realizing the depth of his feelings for Lu, was left in turmoil. The very thought of a divorce was enough to unsettle him entirely, as he realized just how much he couldn't bear to lose from his life. Lu woke up to the eerie silence of an empty house, her heart heavy from the nightmares that had haunted her through the night. As she tried to shake off the lingering unease, her phone buzzed with a message from a close friend. Her friend had gone to great lengths to ensure Lu's safety, installing cameras in the old neighborhood house. The footage captured someone sneaking in, and it didn't take long before the same person was seen handling the now dying goldfish, the same mysterious figure who seemed connected to a dark, unfolding pattern. The unsettling realization struck Lu like a cold wave. This person, whose presence was now clearly documented, was dangerous, and their actions were no coincidence. The quiet threat that had been hovering around her seemed closer than ever. Yim confronted Han, revealing a shocking truth that sent ripples through everything Han thought he knew. The truth behind the exposure of Sue's secrets wasn't Lu's mother, as he had believed, but Yim himself. Consumed by obsessive feelings for Lu, Yim had been driven to madness after Lu repeatedly ignored him. His ardent love turned into a dangerous obsession, and in his twisted mind, if he couldn't have her, he would destroy her instead. Yim admitted to leaking the video of Sue's bisexual or Lu's mother, inciting her to spread it widely. This act was all part of his twisted attempt to make Lu's life crumble, all while feeding into his own obsession with Eelings. Distorted and obsessive, had grown to such an extent that he was willing to destroy everything in his path, including himself, just to possess Lu. It meant mutual destruction. Han, shocked and betrayed by this revelation, now understood the true depth of Yim's madness, and the lengths he would go out his twisted desire. The lines between love, obsession, and revenge had blurred completely for Yim, and it was clear now that no one was safe from the consequences of his fixation. Lai, frustrated and desperate, once again approached Han, demanding that he divorce Lu. However, to her shock, Han flatly refused. This was a stark contrast to his previous compliance, and Lee could see that his feelings for Lu had evolved beyond the contract. His rejection of her demands sent a surge of anger through her, as it made her realize that her control over Han and the situation was slipping away. Lee's sense of control had always been rooted in manipulation and her ability to dictate the terms of their relationship. But now, as Han resisted her and chose Lu, she began to fear that everything she had carefully orchestrated was unraveling. The more she tried to maintain her grip, the more it seemed to slip through her fingers, and this fear of losing everything pushed her to the edge. As her emotions grew darker, Lee's actions became more erratic, and her obsession with controlling Han and his life intensified. She could no longer stand the idea of losing him to Lu, and her once calculated plans began to crumble under the weight of insecurities and fears. At the same time, Lu had made her way to Han's home, following a tip from Woo. She headed upstairs to Lee's study, and as she suspected, she discovered something hidden in the crystal chandelier, a surveillance camera, carefully placed to monitor every move in the living room. This revelation confirmed her suspicions that Lee had been keeping a close eye on her and Han. Downstairs, Han, whom Lee once described as a worthless playboy, was in the kitchen, trying his best to prepare a perfect dinner for Lu. The contrast between his usual image and his current efforts stirred deep within Lu. She began to realize how much Han had changed, and perhaps how much he had grown attached to her. It was a side of him that she hadn't fully noticed before, a side that made her heart stir with emotions she hadn't expected. Meanwhile, her friend had finally uncovered the identity of the supplier for the surveillance equipment, Woo, the man who had always played a loyal contract husband by Lee's side. This revelation added another layer to the growing web of deception surrounding their lives, and Lu began to understand the extent of the manipulation and control that had been at play all along. The next morning, Lu, acting on Han's behalf, arranged a meeting with Lee at the construction site of the new building. As soon as Lee arrived, Lu confronted her, warning her to stop interfering with Han. After delivering the message, Lu turned and stepped into the elevator, with Lee following closely behind. What started as a tense confrontation quickly escalated into a physical struggle. But Lai, in her frantic desperation, was no match for Mu. In just a few moves, Lu had her pinned down, effortlessly overpowering her. The scene felt surreal as Lee, now spiraling into madness, could only scream incoherently. Lu's voice cut through, demanding an explanation for the surveillance camera hidden in the crystal chandelier. She reminded Lee that this was the Tatins Athen's father had used against his mother, and the very thing that Han feared most. Lee's grip on reality had long since slipped, and now, both emotionally and physically defeated, she could do nothing as Lou walked away. Lee's helpless. Frantic screams echoed in the empty space, but no one was there to answer her. She was left alone, consumed by her own man, moved on, leaving her in the dust. Lou returned to the old neighborhood house, following her usual routine of tidying up. She was always so diligent, always wait for someone who seemed lost or absent. As she cleaned the dust off a small trinket, she unexpectedly found something. A photo that had been carefully glued back after being cut. Curious, she traced her fingers over the edges of the photo, wondering who had done this. It seemed intentional, as though someone had wanted to preserve it despite its damage. It was a subtle clue, but a clue nonetheless. To ensure no one could break in again, her friend and the curly-haired woman had taken extra precautions, changing the locks and installing a new password system. The house, once vulnerable to intrusions, now had more security, yet Lou couldn't shake the feeling that there were more secrets waiting to be uncovered within those walls. That night, the mysterious man reappeared. It was Yim, the one who had been relentlessly stalking Lou. He had confirmed that this is the right house, but after several failed attempts, the password kept being rejected. Frustrated, he twisted the doorknob with anger. Just as he was about to give up, someone from inside opened the door. Before Yim could react, the person lunged forward and stabbed him. It was Sui. When Lou returned to the old neighborhood later that night, she was met with a chilling sight. Blood was splattered all over the floor. The door was ajar, and on the table, there was a blood-stained knife. It was a scene that spoke of violence and chaos. We in shock, with more questions than answers. On the other side, the severely wounded Yim stumbled into a pharmacy. The owner, noticing his profuse sweating in obvious distress, kindly suggested that he head to the emergency room for treatment. It was an act of concern, but Yim twisted it into something else, his anger rising. His expression grew increasingly grotesque as he slowly approached the owner, a dark intent in his eyes. The atmosphere shifted, and the once safe space of the pharmacy now seemed like a potential setting for something far more sinister. As Han was preparing a meal at home, he heard the sound of the door unlocking, thinking that Lou had returned. But when he turned around, he was faced with the last person he wanted to see. Lei. She wasted no time and directly asked Han if he had ever considered why she chose Lou to be his contract wife. Isn't it too of a coincidence? She remarked, her tone sharp, implying that there was something more to the situation than met the eye. Long time ago, Lee had already met Lou. It was during a school celebration, and Han was looking disheveled, his sandals broken. Lou silently handed him a new pair of slippers. A simple yet kind gesture. But to Lee, who was consumed with possessiveness, this action sparked a fire of jealousy. She hated papers and, by extension, hated Lou. It was then that she decided to use Lou to disgust Han, to assert her control over him. However, now Lee has come to realize that she can let go of everything and embrace Han once again. But more importantly, she doesn't want to be replaced. That's why she repeatedly tries to convince them divorce. When Sui returned to the old neighborhood, Lou had already left. She had even wiped the blood from his nose. After much decided to send Lou an invitation to meet. Lou often returned to the old neighborhood, which had become as familiar to her as home. It seemed like she had become the woman of the house there. She was preparing her husband's favorite meal, and the two of them sat down together, catching up on the years of hurt and misunderstandings. Once, because of Lou's words, "As long as we're together, that's enough," Sui tried to change. But it was only after the videos and statements spread online that he realized things weren't as simple as he had imagined. He didn't know how to face it, and that's why he ran away. As for Lou, she thought she would feel nervous and breathless upon seeing her beloved one again, but she was far calmer than she expected. Somewhere along the way, she had learned to let go. The only reason she kept returning to the old neighborhood was to wait for Sui to give her closure, even if it was just hearing him say the marriage was over. Her release could not be achieved alone. When Sui finally said the long-delayed apology, the relationship between them finally came to an end. This house will not change, and the time shared between the two will never fade away. There were moments of joy and arguments, but every memory proves the love they once shared, second by second. From now on, it will be buried deep within their hearts, never to be mentioned again. After Lou got out of the car, she saw Han, who had been waiting for a long time. The grievances she had endured for 5 years out all at once. She shed her strong exterior and collapsed to the ground, crying uncontrollably. It's okay, because Han is there to ease. Together, they would walk forward, and perhaps this was the best ending. But often, things don't go as planned. A month later, the police discovered the body of the pharmacy owner. After committing the crime, the killer had posted an announcement about overseas training on the roll, updoor. It wasn't until the nearby residents smelled the stench of decay that they alerted the authorities. The police used DNA analysis to confirm that the murderer was Yim. At the same time, a suitcase was pulled from the lake. Along with it was a male body, long submerged in the water. The wounds on the body, however, indicated that he had been murdered rather than drowning accidentally. This person turned out to be the very killer the police had been searching for Yim. But the question remained, why did the killer end up dead? Was it a revenge killing, a crime of passion, or something else entirely? Who was behind it? The investigation and evidence collection were not difficult. The suitcase was uniquely designed, worth 50 million Korean won, and only a few people could afford it. The police quickly traced it back to Han, as his family owned an identical suitcase, one that Lee had bought for their unborn child. However, this suitcase didn't belong to Han. He soon recalled that when Lu first became his contract wife and visited his home, she had also brought an identical suitcase. Yim was the primary cause of Lu's broken marriage, and he had stalked her for years. Lu was the person who most wanted him gone. Given this, could Lu be the killer? After all, the suitcase was found at the scene, which raises questions. If Lu wasn't the one who killed him, why would the suitcase appear there? This could be a clue that suggests a deeper connection between Lu and the murder. Perhaps the suitcase isn't just a coincidence. It's possible that someone else involved in the situation left it behind. Or perhaps Lu had a more indirect role in Yim's death than it first appeared. A month before the events unfolded, Yim had been repeatedly calling and harassing Lu, leading her to reluctantly agree to meet him. To ensure her safety, she chose a restaurant with surveillance cameras. Yim, consumed by jealousy, couldn't stand the thought of any man marrying Lu, if it was just a contractual arrangement. He knew that the marriage contract was confidential, and if more people found out about this new type of marriage, it would create a scandal. Yim also knew that the marriage contract was hidden in Lu's suitcase, and he had initially assumed the suitcase would be his home. However, he attempted to break into Sui's house multiple times in search of it, but was met with resistance and was injured by Sohim in the process. This led to him also injuring an innocent person, which made Lu curious about who that person was. When Lu asked about the innocent person, Yim quickly changed the topic, incisioning why Lu hated him. Lu, realizing Yim's obsessive behavior, refused to engage further, signaling the end of their conversation and any possibility of reconciliation. Yim, refusing to give up, continued to stalk Lu, eventually following her to Han's music studio. As Yim grew closer, Lu was in imminent danger. Han, seeing the threat, lost control and rushed forward, attacking Yim with a fury. Lu, witnessing Han's violent reaction, was taken aback and unable to speak. In the aftermath of the incident, Han began to train at a shooting range, determined to ensure Lu's safety. The gun he used was a family heirloom, inherited from his father, and it was unregistered. Han vowed that if Lu ever faced danger again, he would be ready to protect her, using whatever means necessary to keep her safe. The representative from the marriage agency received internal news about Lu's meeting with Yim. Coincidentally, Lu visited the company for personal matters and used the opportunity to officially apply to end her professional career after contract with Han expired. Her determination was unwavering, and despite the representative's attempts to persuade her to reconsider, nothing seemed to change her mind. She was resolute in her decision to step away from her role in the marriage company, signaling the end of that chapter in her life. Han received a call from his subordinates who were inspecting the house. During their check, they accidentally discover its cameras hidden inside the crystal chandelier. Only the person who had brought the chandelier could have done something like this. Han went to Lee's home and saw the footage she had been monitoring every day. The archives were filled with countless records, showing how Lee had been watching his every move, attempting to control him from the very core. It became clear that her obsession had gone beyond boundaries, and she had been keeping him under surveillance for much of it ever realized. The crystal chandelier in the living room was removed by Han. A tiny surveillance camera hidden inside it caused great emotional turmoil for him. He couldn't forget the years of watching his mother suffer. Perhaps even more unforgettable was that night, when he thought his mother's departure would be a relief. He had tied the rope for her himself. That night, a frail figure ran through the pouring rain, and unexpectedly, a girl appeared with an umbrella to shield him. That girl became his reliance in the first half of his life. However, in the second half, she became just as terrifying as his father had been. The contrast between the person he once loved and the one who had turned into a force of control haunted him deeply. Lee's explanation was that she needed to see Han, even though he had Lu by his side, still yearning for her. Ever since the accident when Han decided to keep the child, she had lost sight of whether she was still important to him. But no matter what, how could she, knowing Han's deepest fears, do something that scared and disgusted him? This marriage was completely over, and Lee's control had failed. After being trapped in an unhealthy relationship for so long, Han found someone who genuinely cared for him. It was Lu who showed him what it truly meant to love, making Han realize the difference between the toxic past and the love he truly deserved. The two of them dreamed of the future, imagining a life like any ordinary couple. They would bicker, and even though life dough at times, they would find joy in the little moments. One night, Han told Lu that he had known who she really was all along. In that moment, their past struggles and pain seemed to fade into the background, replaced by the certainty that they had found something real and lasting in each other. During their university days, Lu's best friend passed away due to illness, and she kept the ashes at the cemetery. It happened to be the same day as Han's mother's memorial, and it was then that she saw Han at his most broken. Their bond began right at that moment, a connection born out of Shea Burton's spoken understanding. However, the beauty of this late, blooming relationship did not continue as they had hoped. The past weighed heavily on them, and despite the love that eventually blossomed, the scars of their individual struggles remained. Yim disguised himself as a renovation worker, sneaked into Han's house, stole a suitcase, and used it to threaten Lu. Since Hu joined the marriage agency, he has married other men every time, but none of them are him. He became insanely jealous. Furthermore, he was previously locked in a mental hospital because it killed the marriage agency's bodyguard. These two reasons are the source of his hatred. So, he plans to use the contract inside to expose the marriage agency's secrets to the world, or else he will take action against Han. Lu had no other choice and agreed to the request to meet. The more remote the place, the more it becomes a popular spot for incidents. Yim brought the suitcase with him and secretly sent Han the location during the journey, but he didn't expect that he had stolen the wrong suitcase. He took Lee's instead. The plan that was about to succeed failed once again. The moment Yim saw Han rushing over, he completely went insane. But he never expected that Lu had taken Han's gun and pulled the trigger on him. A month later, after some interrogation, the police discovered that Lu's testimony didn't quite match the facts. The autopsy showed that Yim died from a sharp weapon, not from a gunshot wound. Could there be another murderer? The one who knows the true killer may only be one person. Since the arranged marriage began, Wu had developed genuine feelings for Lee, but was repeatedly rejected by her. A month ago, Lu had arranged to meet, and Wu received a mission from the marriage agency to secretly follow them. That night, Lu's gun was loaded with blanks, making it difficult to cause a fatal injury from a distance. Wu took advantage of Yim's attempt to escape, holding a sharp weapon and waiting by the river for a long time. He had once been a bodyguard for the marriage agency, and had witnessed his closest colleague die right in front of him, but was powerless to do anything. This was the reason he accepted the agency's mission. When he confessed the truth to Lee and said his farewell, he said, "I really like this marriage. People always fail to shelter what they have until they lose it, and then regret it deeply." Lai began to reminisce about Wu's good qualities. A month later, the police identified him as the prime suspect. Lai, on the other hand, used all her connections to hire a defense lawyer for him. The marriage contract expired, and Lu left with her luggage, and asked her, "If we happen to meet again in the future, could you stay by my side? Even the first time doesn't work, what about the second chance? Can you accept fate?" Lu didn't answer this question. 6 months later, Han moved out of the mansion and lived in another apartment, raising a few cats. It was a peaceful and comfortable life. His life with Lu had no connection at all. One day, Lu went to the cinema and watched a dull horror movie alone, just to see that one name at the end of Krizik producer Tahan. Sometime later, she decided to completely say goodbye to the past and sold that suitcase for a mere 3,000 Korean won. Passing by a cafe, she happened to see a special offer on coffee for just 3,000 Korean won, so she stopped for a while. There she saw the man she hadn't seen in a long time. and he seemed to sense her presence. After walking a few steps forward, he suddenly turned back. That autumn day, the Fallenleys bid farewell to the big tree, and the people destined to meet finally reunited. He had held it in for a long time, not knowing what to say. After briefly asking about her well-being, he finally said, "This is the first time we've met by chance." The two stood in silence, looking at each other, because there was no hurry. The people destined for each other would always have another encounter.